Hi there, this is David and welcome to New RPG News. As usual, we have a lot of stuff to talk about today, from Final Fantasy to Sea of Stars to some Zelda news to a lot of Tokyo Game Show stuff, Ys 10, Dragon Quest, and a really stupid reason as to why we're not getting any kind of voice acting in the new Baten Kaitos duology. But before we get to all of that good stuff, let's hear a word from today's sponsor. This week's New RPG News is brought to you by Final Prophet, available now on Steam, which just received its first major update. Here you play as the fierce former Queen of the Fae, exiled by her own daughter, and you enter the world of business, where you'll carry out your ruthless plan. That is, to beat the corrupt Bureau of Business at their own game by becoming a Lord of Business yourself. This is a peaceful RPG, so growth and progress are tied to your shop rather than to battling. And the story features far-reaching choices that will shape your destiny as you gradually build up your wealth and your power. Will you manage to stick to your morals and save your people? Or will you compromise and become as ruthless as they are? Come and find out in this unique take on the genre. And if you're as excited about this as I am, please check out the link to get Final Prophet for yourself that is in the pinned comment and the video description. And now with that, let's get on with this week's news. As promised, and as we heard about maybe a month ago or so, because whenever Final Fantasy 16 came out, they were like, no, there's going to be no DLC, it's going to be a full, complete experience, a full, complete game, but now they've come out with, 2 new DLCs, because, of course, it's Square, what you gonna do? But there's also a free update available right now. I'm just gonna briefly go over exactly what is going to be detailed here. It says that they've received this free update which adds a new weapon skin feature, an onion sword weapon, and new outfits for Clive, Jill, Torgal, and other characters, as well as they announced both a PC version and 2 paid downloadable contents that are early in development, with more information to come at the end of this year. We don't know what's going to be in the DLCs, more than likely something about Leviathan, maybe something about Dion and Terrence, who knows, that would be cute. As far as the new outfit for Clive, I don't know, it kind of gets rid of, the cleavage, and I'm not a fan of that, so that was the best part of it, watching him run around in his little corset vest and everything. I was all about it. The Final Fantasy Pixel Remastered series sales have topped 3 million units sold. So they previously announced that there was 2 million units sold. Since May, an additional 1 million copies have now been sold. That just signals that, guess what? Traditional turn-based JRPGs are not dead. They are still alive and well. This is up there in parity with as many copies as Final Fantasy 16 sold. Their last announcement of copies sold was 3 million. Now Pixel Remaster is also 3 million. If that goes to show how much people just love old school JRPGs. Hopefully this means that we might get a, new reprint of them to officially release here in America. Maybe even the PS4 copies. Maybe they'll come out for the PS5 physically. Maybe we'll re-release that limited edition that was out for a hot second before the scalpers got a hold of it. Maybe, but I highly doubt it. And also, maybe this signals a Dragon Quest Pixel Remaster? Maybe they'll go through the Lufia series since they own that too. Maybe they'll go through and they'll redo some SNES games, pixelized. Who knows? Now for some Final Fantasy XIV news. There are no plans to make this a free-to-play MMO, which to me is good news. Best news that I've heard so far. Best news on Square Enix in quite a bit of time. The reason why this was asked was because they do have free trials for the game, and they said that the free trial was going to be expanded to include Stormblood up to level 70 whenever the next expansion, the Dawn Trail, is released next year. Then they asked and they said, well, is the game ever really just going to go free to play, like a lot of mobile MMOs and things like that? And they said, no, I believe that the free trial will continue to be expanded, but we have no plans of making the client itself free at the moment. Since a huge amount of time and money has been invested into the expansion packages, the revenue from sales of the expansion package itself is still very important in order to continue to make expansions on this scale. We would like to constantly aim for the best on the business side, as well as continue to make a lot of content to be enjoyed. He then went on to talk about maybe a new Final Fantasy online, like 11, 14, maybe 17 would be online, 18, who knows. And they said, we don't have any plans to move on to a new game, as that would be something even more difficult than having a realm to be reborn. That might change if I'm hit with some kind of inspiration though. So it looks to me like Final Fantasy XIV is going to just continue as planned, just keep on going. It seems to be doing really well. It is the most popular MMO out there, and yeah, being able to play up to level 70 for free is a big deal. I remember whenever I quit EverQuest, I wanted to say level 60 was the highest level, I'm pretty sure. What came out, like Lucelyn? It was something with the moon came out, and I was like, I don't know about this, and I was up to Velius, and it was a bit much, and then EverQuest 2 came out, and I was just like, oh, well, you know, a sequel came out, so I shouldn't play the first game, and I moved on to the second game, but EverQuest 2 sucked, but by that point, I was already kind of over it, and yeah. Anyway, that was a complete tangent. Speaking of some good news coming out of companies, and speaking of no plans, Nintendo is talking about The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and they're saying that they have no plans for new DLC. I know that a lot of people out there like DLC. I myself cannot understand the mindset of, please sell me a half-finished game and then please make me spend $20 more to actually get the full experience. Please, thank you so much for that. I don't get it. But people like DLC. I am not one of them. I hate DLC unless it's done like incredibly well, like the Xenoblade series seems to do. That's pretty much the only exception. So they were asked about like, hey, are y'all gonna make new DLC for this game? And they say no. Currently, we don't plan to release any additional content this time because we feel like we have done everything that we can to create fun in that world. We decided to make this a sequel to the previous game because we felt like there was value in experiencing a new type of play in that Hyrule setting. Then, if those reasons are renewed, we may return to the same world. Whether it's in a sequel or a new work, I think it will be something else entirely, and I hope that you look forward to it. So basically they're saying, no more DLC, we might do a sequel in this world, but more than likely they're just gonna kind of move on to a new Hyrule, a new experience, hopefully in, 2D, so I can actually play it and enjoy it. No DLC for Zelda, yes DLC for Sea of Stars. This, though, was a Kickstarter stretch goal, so they had to do it. Basically, what they're saying is that the team has been split in two. Half the team is going to be working on Sabotage Studios' third game, the Messenger, Sea of Stars. We don't know what they're working on next, if it's an RPG, if it's a platformer, maybe it's an entirely different genre, we don't know. The other half of the team is going to be working on the DLC. It says that the DLC was actually a Kickstarter stretch goal, so it was always a part of the plan to develop a follow-up chapter. It'll be named Throes of the Watchmaker, and will apparently form narrative links between Sea of Stars and The Messenger, which takes place thousands of years later in the same setting. So that'll be kind of interesting, I've got to say. Xbox Digital is going to be broadcasting at Tokyo Game Show. Remember, this lasts from September 21st all the way through to September 24th, and we're going to be going through a couple of different companies and what they're going to be talking about. It says that they are going to be talking about Bethesda Softworks, as well as creatively diverse collection of games from creators predominantly located in Japan and Asia, as well as announcements of new games coming over to the Xbox Game Pass. Hopefully, maybe they'll get a JRPG. Maybe we'll get some news on that Metaphor. That would be cool. Sega and Atlas have also announced their schedule and lineup, including Sonic Superstars, Persona 3 Reload, Persona 5 Tactica, and more. It says that they're also going to be talking about Endless Dungeon, Like a Dragon Gaiden, The Man Who Erased His Name. Let's see what else we got. My Time at Sandrock, some EA Sports thing, Hot Wheels, Payday, and Hogwarts Legacy. So if you're interested in any of that stuff, that is going to be going on September 21st for Sega and Atlas. And finally, Level 5 has announced their lineup, and we know that Level 5 is finally actually going to be releasing their games in the West. We heard about that many months ago. None of their games have come out in the West yet, but we're going to learn more about them, like Deca Police, Fantasy Life: The Girl Who Steals Time, Inazuma 11: Victory Road, Megaton Musashi Wired, and Professor Layton and the New World of Steam. I cannot wait to learn more about this. Level 5 is one of my favorite developers, from Ni no Kuni to the Dragon Quest games to Dark Cloud 2. They had some great ones, not including Rogue Galaxy because I hated that one, but they had some great ones out there, and I cannot wait for them to come back and to just shower us with wonderful, wonderful games. We have a new trailer for Ys 10 Nordics. This is a character's introduction trailer. I'm playing it above me with Adol, who looks like a school child. I can't get over how dumb he looks. I just can't get over it. He looks like he needs a kick me sign taped to his back. I cannot get over it. But anyway, let me just read through these characters, including Adol. I know he's supposed to be younger, but like, give me a frickin' break. Okay, Adol. An adventurer who's left behind numerous journals, he travels around the world with Doki. Karja is the daughter of the leader of the Baten Navy. The pirate princess proudly leads a gang of maritime miscreants in pirate activities. Gren, not Glenn, but Gren. Yeah, okay, I'm sure that's going to get translated properly. A member of the Neighborhood Watch in the town of Karnak and the eldest son of Karnak's mayor, Burge. Rosalind, the poster girl for the town's popular Rooseveri Tavern. She's well-mannered and considerate of those around her. Cruz. He loves reading and has a wealth of knowledge across various fields. While he might seem not quiet, he has a surprising ability to take initiative. Rafe, a childhood friend of Green and Cruz who sometimes reveals his mature side. Who's Green? Oh, they probably mean Gren. Who wrote this article? What in the world? And finally, Mirabelle, a nurse who works at the clinic. She's a good friend of Green and his family. I can't with this article. I just can't. Oh my god, I just can't. How freaking cool is this? Gargoyles is getting a remaster. This isn't an RPG, but it's my childhood, so I don't care. It's launching October 19th for the PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. This was a cartoon back in the 90s that I used to watch, and yeah, so sue me. And it also was a game on the SNES as well, and now it's getting remastered. So, it's only gonna be $15, so whatever. And if you don't like the new graphics, you can toggle on the old graphics. I'm gonna read about it. It says it's an artfully crafted revival of the 90s classic 16-bit side-scrolling platform adventure. Relive the epic journey of Goliath and the Gargoyles, featuring enhanced visuals, animations, and sound effects, all inspired by the acclaimed animated series. The world of Gargoyles comes to life with a level of detail that will thrill fans of the animated series and retro gaming enthusiasts alike. Experience classic gameplay that stays authentic to its predecessor while including new features such as achievements, gameplay rewind, and more. That's so cool. It says here you can toggle between the different graphics, you can toggle between the different sounds and everything. Like, this is just great. Like, I saw this and I just had to include it. Now, this game isn't exactly my thing. Don't expect me to cover this on my channel or anything, but again, this is news, and some of y'all might be interested in it, so I figured that I would cover it. Grimdark medieval tactical RPG Beast has been announced for the PC. It's set in a medieval, dark fantasy world. It's launching next year, and it says, in a grim-dark medieval world, torn by plague and military conflicts, you either unleash your darkness hidden inside of you, or you let your enemies tear you to shreds. Beast is a unique tactical role-playing game that makes you fight not only your enemies, but also your inner monster. It looks really, I don't know, like, I like bright, cheery, colorful games, not stuff like this. So that's why it's just not my really thing, but it does seem kind of horror-y, tactical, dark storylines, evil, that sort of stuff. So if you're into that, brutal, gore, that sort of stuff, then you might be interested in this. Me, I'm going pass. We've now reached the ending portion of our news program that I like to call News of the Weird, those strange stories. Square's Satellaview game, Dynamic Tracer, is getting an English fan translation. Square made 4 different games for the Satellaview, and if you don't know what this was a Japan-only add-on that essentially connected the Super Famicom up to the internet, and you could download various games onto the Super Famicom. Most of these games, sucked. There was one called like BS Dragon Quest, one called BS Zelda. Square made 4 of them, like Radical Dreamers, I'm sure you've heard of that, as well as a dating sim board game, Kawaii Balance, and the combat adventure Treasure Conflicts. Those 3 are all translated. This is the only one that isn't. It uses the graphics engine of Chrono Trigger, and it has a soundtrack from the Final Fantasy composer whose name I cannot pronounce. So it says, the game is essentially an RPG where players select a character and then race against 5 other CPU-controlled competitors across a bunch of different planets, completing quests to unlock them as treasures. The winner is based upon who reaches the finish line first, combined with the total value of the treasures collected. And you can see up above the game being played with like a little timer going and the planet choices and all that kind of stuff. And I want to go through some of these screenshots here as well of the translation patch. The patch is already done, but the link itself to the patch has not yet been released. So don't go out there looking for this. But we do know that it's already done right there. You can choose your player choice. It says here on Planet Octave, you only hear peaceful singing voices, but sounds of fights echo through the universe. It just looks like a classic, turn-based RPG. Everybody has very strange hair. This blue hair, this kind of cloud strife hair going all there. The journalist for the Cosmo Times. Cosmo Canyon? Who knows? This is the last one. Yeah, okay, so, yeah, there it is. Another 16-bit JRPG finally getting a translation patch. And now for our final story of the day. We already know about the Baten Kaitos 1 and 2 HD remaster. We already know that I'm really excited for it. We already know that I have the games, and I've played the games, and I enjoyed the games. But what we didn't know was why we weren't getting English voice acting in them whenever they already had English voice acting in them back 20 frickin' years ago back on the GameCube. We knew that it was being removed, but we didn't know why. And you have to think, they must have a really good reason why they're going to be removing the voice acting, right? Wrong. It's the dumbest reason I've ever heard in my entire life. The reason is, in developing the remastered version, we tried to make adjustments on some of the expressions to match the current era. That's why I made the difficult decision not to use English voice acting for this remastered version, due to the discrepancies that will happen. What does that even mean? I don't know what that means. They go on to say, the wording is a bit strange. You think? I had to read it like 20 times and I still don't even know what the hell they're talking about. But it can maybe be understood that the staff didn't believe that the English dub is fitting of today's current standards. For those unaware, the English dubs for the Baten Kaitos weren't really well received, though they did have their own charm. Origins was at least a good deal better, from what I remember. Okay, so here's the deal. Certain people did have weirdo voice acting, and some people felt like they were speaking through a tube, but there was a reason for that. You don't actually play as Callus. You play as Callus's guardian spirit, and it's like you're listening to everything that's going on from like almost like a different dimension, an alternate plane, and that's why the voice acting is kind of strange. It was done to kind of immerse you into this game. So that's what they are saying. Another way to look at this is saying that maybe they made some very, very small minor adjustments to the script. Maybe there were some jokes that would pass for 20 years ago, but they wouldn't pass for today. So, they changed a couple of words around here and there, and because of that, they decided to axe the entire voice acting? Like, I don't know about that. That just seems very, very odd to me. To me, it probably just boils down to money, and they just didn't want to pay royalties for it, but they just don't want to say that. I don't really know. But, at least keep it an option in there. It's not even an option. Come on. It's very, very disappointing. Anyway, that's it for this week's new RPG news. Please let me know what news stories you're most excited about. Let me know what you enjoyed the most. Let me know if there's anything that I missed or anything that you want me to go over next week, and I will look into it. And as always, have a good day.